I do love the UK. I love the cold mornings, walking the dog. I like it, but I'm just fed up with the tax. I really am. It's the turnover taxes. It tax businesses on profit and not turnover.
Internationally, it's proven if you lower taxes, you get more take. I mean, it's proven in this country.
I really like China. Like some people are like, China to spy and China do this and they control you. But actually, the people are amazing. You know the rules. And like if a company in China do a trade show and they sell goods from that trade show, they get like a 1% cashback from the government on all goods exported to come off their tax bills. Imagine if we did that here. I had a really tough time at school. I was bullied really badly, and I think there's an element of like proving the bullies wrong that has been ingrained in me somewhat. There was a cupboard. They put me in the cupboard, opened the door, throw apples in, shut the door. And then the real turning point was I got bundled and I broke my wrist. I'm going to prove those people wrong one day.
This week, we are joined by the fabulous Toby Burns, an immersive events pioneer and the man behind Silent Disco in the UK. He does like 5,000 events a year now. Anyway, he has some quite spicy things to say about how the UK treats entrepreneurship and flags an innovation that you would love to see the UK copy from China. Yes, we should copy from China. You'll have to listen in to find out how and why, but you'll also get some real nuggets of business wisdom in handy catchphrases such as innovate or evaporate or diversify or die. Most importantly, if you want to create continued success, you need to create a great customer experience at every touch point. And let us know what you think in the comments. Check it out. Hello and welcome to Business Without Bullsh-t. I am Andy Ory, and today we are joined by Toby Burns. Toby is a true pioneer in the world of immersive events. Starting out as a teenage children's entertainer and DJ, Toby became the founder and director of the Silent Disco Company Group, an entrepreneurial force behind a portfolio of entertainment brands that are revolutionizing how we party, sing, and connect. Excellent. From silent discos and outdoor cinemas to karaoke and beyond, Toby's companies now run over 5,500 events a year across the UK and Europe. That's every day and some, working with everyone from Glastonbury and Google to the BBC and ITV. Toby, a warm welcome.
Thank you for having me.
5,500 events a year. What, across the UK?
Yeah, it's a lot of events.
Well, you're not at all of them then.
That's the pleasure of our business, of how we've really scaled, is that we run everything on like a dry hire model. So it's a do-it-yourself. We ship it to you, arrives at your door on a Friday. You have an amazing weekend. We get it collected on the Monday and bring it back because staff on that many events. Like we do staff quite a lot, but the whole model with all of our businesses and subsequent brands is that dry hire model. Do it yourself, super simple, something that your nan could set up is like basically our ethos for all of our brands.
Well, we're going to get into it a bit more. I mean, there's something wonderful about the silent disco, isn't it? It appeals to the nan who can hear everything, doesn't it? As along to someone
who doesn't want to hear everything.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to rock up. You wouldn't think they work really, but for, I've only ever done them once or twice. But yeah, I hear people will be like, "Oh, I went to this silent disco. It was fucking amazing," Anyway, we're just going to start off with some quick fire, just ask you some short little questions, get to know Toby a little bit better. You should know the answer to this. So D is cueing some music. And what was your first job, Toby?
It was working in my dad's family business as a salesperson. So this little 13-year-old little shit, asking for tips I'll keep your change at the end. I would say that was my first job, working in dad's shop, which was like an old school Army and Navy store that used to be everywhere. Oh, wow. So it was like, it wasn't what I wanted to do, but I would have been fourth generation.
Really? I'm third. Okay, you would have been fourth. Is it gone now, this shop?
He's retired. We sold the business 2 years ago. And I would say he's busier now than he was working all the time. Like, I'm like, do you want to do something? No, I'm busy. I'm out with this. I'm doing this. But it was good he retired. He was slightly unwell, and it was time.
It's time.
So
I don't remember. We had the Army and Navy. You see them in America, don't you? But I don't really remember seeing them here so much.
There was one in Romford. There was one.
So it's army stuff, like,
yeah,
you know.
There was one in Barkingside, which is near D, and then Southend. And as I said, that's where the family business was. Dad went in at, I think, 14, 15. He left school and he was working. But like we've been like across the world on holiday. We could be in like, I remember we went to St. Lucia one time and literally on the beach and someone came up and was like, you're Mr. Burns from the Army and Navy. So he was like famous to a few. It was really odd. But like, obviously he'd worked there, you know, he'd owned it 40 years or whatever. And the amount of people, like if they were traveling to Southend, you'd go to the Army and Navy. Like there was such a variety. And it was like this dungeon and palace at the same time of all this old gear.
Because it's cheap too. It's sort of surplus. It's sort of, you know.
So some was cheap and like, you know, boiler, there's a pound rail outside and that sort of thing. So
they'd give him the clothes out of interest. I'm supposed to do this quickly, but I'm too interested in this.
Oh, there was such it was my granddad.
Would they get them for free, the clothes? Sort
not
of.
Not so much, but like my granddad would just go and just like he'd buy like 400 pairs of size 52 trousers because they were 10p each. I'm like, you know, what are you going to do? And we still had them when we sold the business. We still had hundreds of these 52-inch waist trousers. So
coming back.
I'm glad he retired. He deserved to retire. It was enough. And we managed to sell the business. So that's carried on online. Guys down in Surrey bought
it's still going.
It's still going, but online only.
What's your worst job you've ever done?
Honestly, I don't think I have one. Because from there, I went straight into being a children's entertainer. And then my entrepreneurial journey. So
very normal, that Army and Navy store children's entertainer.
Helping out, he was like, you got to work. And I think that is like the key to our like old-fashioned customer service. And that's like what I train our staff on. Like, I want old-fashioned customer service. Like get on the phone to them, make sure someone's always available on the phone. If someone calls, like that old school customer service, I just love because it works.
Yeah, the service thing is so lost, isn't it? The Americans are good at service. I think we
chatbots are like my worst thing. I'm like, just agent. Let me just speak to a human. So all of our live chats, they're humans. You know, in the morning, they are real people that you're talking to because there's nothing worse.
Oh, they're the worst.
Than a chatbot.
They never can answer your question.
No, I mean, you go round in circles for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you just, you know, if you put agent enough time, eventually it triggers to put you through to a real person.
I crashed my car, screaming agent down my phone, trying to get my bank to do something. And then obviously I don't know, I would love to hear that transcript after I crashed my car. So I was like, you fucking...
There'd be a lot of bleeps in there. Yeah.
Favourite subject at school?
Music technology.
Ooh.
No surprises there.
Yes, right. Did you write music ever?
When I was young, I got to grade 5 drums at a really young age. And I got to a point like, I either be a drummer or I'd be a DJ and an entertainer. And there was a lot more money in the latter option.
Yeah.
So I gave up drums. And actually during my DJ side of it, you know, decks now are quite advanced and you've got like pads on there so I can load up bongos. So I'll still have a tinkle in it.
Very similar. I scratch a bit and that's sort of drumming. It's drumming with your fingers, isn't it?
Scratch your arm or like proper DJing? Okay.
Yeah, that's my...
So drumming, but my mum's a soprano opera singer.
No shit.
So she's an amazing singer.
Wow. My
sister, like, is a singer before. Obviously, she's got the dance school and she worked at like Disney and she was Minnie Mouse for a while, which is like a great story.
Meanwhile, Dad's like, want any 52-inch jeans?
and he grafted every day in army clothing. Loved it. So we're quite a musical family, actually.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Very creative family. Word, it's we were discussing offline. It's the ADHD, isn't it? Oh, sorry. I said it right that time. I quite often say ADHD. Anyway, what's your special skill?
Sleeping. Or balloon modelling. Because I'm quite good at balloon modelling. Make balloons, flowers, motorbikes. You know, I can make a really awesome motorbike.
Can you?
Yeah, I can do it in like Mission Impossible music under 30 seconds, make it really quick. But sleeping, I can sleep anywhere. My wife hates me. Like the baby will be crying. I do not hear a thing. Like fire alarm could be going off. I just, anywhere, car, plane, we're going to China next month, but I just came back from America, literally 7 hours, slept the whole thing. Sleeping's my special skill.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
A pilot.
Airline pilot.
I always wanted to be a pilot. I still will do it at some point, because I don't really trust myself that much to fly a plane. But I got to a point where it was like, I knew the path. I could either go to uni at that point, you couldn't do it privately, it was 6 years at uni, or carry on. At that point, I was making really decent money. So at that point, I was like, I quite enjoy the earning money and this journey. But I will learn to fly. I've done it a few times, but pilot.
Very nice. What did your parents want you to be?
They didn't really. I think they always knew, like,
Army and Navy,
14, 15. Yeah, I mean, Dad would have loved me to take over the business. I mean, I was always the one pushed into that, or directed into that. But I think they knew from, like, I was like out working at 14, 15. So,
wow.
Man
Good
with
work
the van,
ethic.
picking me up from school. Literally, Pete, man in the van, Pete, nutcase driver. He'd pick me up and I'd go out, do kids' parties straight from school, college, and then that was it.
Brilliant. Go-to karaoke song. You must have one in your line of work.
Eminem,
Oh,
Without Me. And if I ever DJ a silent disco, which is rarer now because we have a great team, but like that is my go-to, Eminem, Without Me, and the room, like,
people love a bit of Eminem. Actually, of all people, Eminem effect is incredible. I mean, even here, I remember like a few years ago, just playing. We got a little set up here playing. So you can play any tunes. You play an Eminem song, everyone starts coming over. Oh, can you play this one? Can you play that one? It's the way, whether you're a granny or a kid, you just got everyone into hip hop. His effect is incredible. His clarity. Office dogs, business or bullshit?
Business. I mean, my dog picked
Oh,
up.
what kind of dog you have?
I have a schnoodle, Schnauzer poodle.
Wow.
She's nowhere near as behaved as your dog over there sleeping. She, like, if someone comes in, she's a great guard dog, but tiny, like, she's not big. But I remember I picked her up at nine weeks on a Saturday, and on the Monday, she came to the office, and she comes with me to the office every day, ever since.
Have you ever been fired?
I mean, I DJ'd in a nightclub once at 15. Honestly, and I remember I got 40 quid a night to do it, and it was like 5 hours long. I was 15, I remember, and it was like an under 18s night. And we'd gone from like 200 people to like 600. And I was like, I'm obviously doing a good job. We're getting busy. I want 100 quid. I think that's fair, £20 an hour. And he said no. And then he went, "You're fired." So did I sort of, I would have gone at that point where I'm leaving then, but he literally...
He went in too hard.
He went, "You're fired." And I was like, okay.
He was seeing himself, this is going well. I don't need him. I'll just put on an iPod. He wasn't appreciating that. Did you go back and it was empty? Good DJ's a good DJ.
Move on.
Move on.
Look forwards.
Move forward.
Gone.
What's your vice, Toby?
My advice, I think...
Don't say working too hard.
No, but I have a really sweet tooth.
The sugar.
Sugar is a big chocolate is a big problem for me.
You're very slim,
Caramel
you
eggs.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is going to catch up at some point because, like big caramel especially. It's like...
the Cadbury's caramel.
Yeah, like the caramel eggs, I reckon... I joked with my wife. I was like, I think I should message them because I reckon I've had 40 caramel eggs before Easter.
Wow.
Like, because they're like, get a box of 5. I'll do them on the
They'll
way
probably
home.
be like, get in line. We've got someone who does that every hour,
So yeah, caramel, like just sweet. I'm like, my wife's savoury, I'm just sweet everything. And there's no like limit. I don't like feel sick. Just sugar is really bad.
Thank you. You were brilliant, Toby. Gives you a nice sense of your sweet tooth lifestyle. What are you doing right now?
So we run a variety of our brands. I love property, commercial. I just think like it's like builds moats around our business. It's like gives us security that we can fall back on. And I like...
Much like James, our mutual friend, Mr. Sinclair. Yeah.
We have a mutual friend. I mean, he's into like buying bloody business parks and, with 20 units, but I like to do one a year, and I like, we take sort of 50% of our profits, put it into property.
Really, and commercial property.
Commercial.
Because of the tax reliefs are really associated with that.
Yeah, and residential, like, you know, you get just, one thing goes wrong, you're losing money. Like if you're a higher tax rate payer, like literally you're cost neutral. It's just the gain at the end of it. And then just a pain, one thing goes wrong and it's like.
And what would you do though? Buy offices for your building, or you go and buy an office to rent out for other people?
So they're always like light industrial,
Right.
like little commercial units, maybe with a mezzanine office and warehouse space. But generally how we started is like, and James taught me this, is buy the property that you're operating out of.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to put as big a deposit down. So I did exactly that. I bought a little unit. We traded out of there for 2 years, needed more space, went to a bigger one. We rent that original one out. In the later years, you know, we have a few propcos that will just buy little commercial units as investments, whether that's in a pension or a propco.
There's numerous tax roads I could go down there. But yeah, there's if you have a business that's profitable, other than putting that money in your pocket, at which point it will get taxed further, what do you do? And the answer often is commercial property. I mean, you can buy, if you buy the property that you work out of, then you're in a sort of world of sort of better tax reliefs, I guess. You may have alluded to, you know, a simple self-administered pension schemes, which you can take company profits put into and buy commercial. There's a whole load of world of complication of that. But yeah, I think for all businesses that push out profits, what are you going to do with the profits if you don't want them in your pocket? And commercial property is one route.
Yeah, the SIP is a really, you know, in my eyes, a really good way to move, you know, profits out of the business for one into the SIP. And we've got a few properties in that. But, you know, like our mutual friend James, like he'll use those funds to buy other businesses, which we acquired one. But what I find really difficult is to acquire businesses with our model.
With our model, what do you mean?
With our business model of the dry hire, ship it out, ship it back.
Right.
Because you want it to be vertically integrated. So, you know, our cinema hire company, we will use the headphones to do those outdoor cinemas.
So stop. So you're not just doing, of course it would be associated things. You're not just saying, here's some headphones and some equipment for a silent disco. You're doing a bunch of different entertainment stuff for people to put a party on.
And it's all that dry hire model. So we started silent disco, like moving down the years, the subsequent brands are the screen hire company. So we do like the inflatable screens where you can have a home cinema in your garden in the summer.
Nice.
You know, projector screen. That's, you know, saved us during COVID to a degree.
Projectors, though, need to be pretty powerful outside. And then they're quite expensive and a bit sensitive, aren't they? You should dry hard them. You put them in a big metal box and press on.
Yeah, like it's, you know, and that's the difference between us and probably competitors, that like every box isn't just, you know, a tote box with everything thrown in, which we see because boxes come back to us by mistake with couriers and whatever. But, you know, we spend a lot on like foaming it out, protecting the equipment. We probably spend the same amount on protecting the equipment than the equipment itself, because it makes it last double the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're either going to replace it or you just protect it. So, and then cinemas evolved to like the big outdoor screens. So like the drive-in cinemas, again, what saved us during COVID, and I hate the C word, but we have to mention it.
Yeah. Oh, really? You sort of got into that drive-in cinemas. I mean, yeah, it didn't really happen in London so much, but yeah, I can imagine out of London.
So we did that years, and we tried to be like, you know, we've got a 42-foot inflatable screen. That the biggest was 40 foot. So we're like, right, we'll go 42 with the UK's biggest outdoor cinema screen.
Oh, nice. Where'd you get these from? You go to China for all this?
China.
Yeah.
And like literally we're going in a month.
It's insane what they've got out there. I mean, they're so far ahead.
I really like China. Like some people are like, you know, China to spy and trying to do this and they control you. But actually, the people are amazing.
There's
so
individuals.
hospitable.
Yeah, they're lovely.
And like, you know the rules. And like they give back. Like one of the things that I love about China is like you go to a trade show. If a company in China do a trade show and they sell goods from that trade show, I think it's 3%, it may be 1%, but they get like a 1% cashback from the government on all goods exported to come off their like tax bills. Imagine if we did that here.
Oh, I think
on goods, like, to get
stats,
cash back from the government to go, here, well done for exporting goods across the world. We'll give you some 1% off your tax bill in terms of value for doing that. I mean, like, imagine what we'd be in this country if we did that. So Okay, they do some things a bit weird, like every traffic light you go through, they're taking pictures of you. That I find a bit weird. But in terms of the people and the country, I actually quite like it. And I met a lot of expats out there and spoke to them about why they've moved. And it's like, it makes, some of it, it's like, makes sense.
I think they do a lot of innovative stuff as a government, Britain does have an export finance scheme that they'll provide finance for you to export. But yeah, it's straight 1% cash back for exporting. It's very clever. I think individual, I don't think you can ever, any generalization to say, oh, these people are a bunch of bastards. No, Chinese people are lovely. Like there's arseholes, there's nice people. Of course there are. They're people, most of them are pretty cool. But, that business culture gap I find quite big, and that's not to do with anything other than how our culture's evolved and how they do business, that we just sort of tend to shake hands and sort of do a deal. And, you're buying stuff straight from there to here. So I've experienced my businesses. I was a skincare business and we went and had distributors and stuff in China. Now that's a different experience of sort of slightly getting stuffed, and they take great pleasure in stuffing the foreigner,
So like now and I met with a rep this morning that we used to buy like audio cables. When I mean like we're buying them in the hundreds and thousands, like these audio cables, they're almost disposable to us. People lose them, they break, wear and tear. And he was like, oh, you don't buy audio cables from us anymore? I was like, yeah, because I go to China and I paid like 20p a cable instead of £2 a cable. Like, why, I've just got to buy the quantity gaffer tape. Like, that sounds funny. We go through so much gaffer tape at events and like different stuff. I'll just buy a pallet of it, 500 rolls. And the staff are like, why have you bought 500 rolls? And I'm like, because they're like 50p each and we'll pay a £5 for this same quality in the UK. But someone always said to me, like, go out there and meet them, go to the factory, because it just changes their perception of you in a weird way that...
Well, you've got to build trust. You've got to build trust with
them. But like
them.
even the factory that we bought from, like, I've been buying from China from day one. We had the headphone made, we had samples. Like we've had a relationship via email with WeChat instead of WhatsApp they have. But then when I actually, like a couple of years ago, and it took me like 8 years to get on and go there and like to sit in their office, they're like, you get better deals, you get better terms. Like now I get like, instead of it used to be like 50% deposit and then like 50% when they send the headphones. And we're talking like large sums of headphones. Now 20% deposit, 8% when they send it, or like I might get 40% when they send, 40% when it lands in the UK. Like
you'll be a good customer. I mean, you have some buying power, you're actually buying enough to be interesting.
Yeah, and just to meet them. And like I told them, literally, we only booked last week for next month because I want to go see some new factories for some new products we're looking at. Our headphone provider, like they're so excited. We're going to go for lunch. We'll pick you up. Like, I've got a car, it's fine. But like they're just, they want to entertain.
Why did you do silent disco? Did you see someone else doing it?
I was in the US at the time on holiday, and I was at sort of this festival, really intoxicated. I remember just leaning on a barrier, and I was watching this silent disco. And at the time, I was DJing, but for a very specific market, like Jewish, Arab, corporate clients that, the easiest way to explain it, like especially like some of the Arab events, like they're spending like 100 grand on a 2-year-old's birthday.
Yeah,
500 people, like crazy bar bat mitzvahs. For Jewish, they'll have Tiny Temper turn up and perform, because they've got to be better than the one the week before. And I saw this silent disco, and I'm doing, 2 of these every weekend. And I just thought, I can bring that into this market much more premium, because they were like cheapy Chinese plasticky shitty headphones.
The British audiophile level, bring nice headphones and all that.
I really wanted something really premium with a premium price point. Like I studied music technology. I know the understanding of the internals of the headphone, and that's what I focused on, because they may look the same as others on the face of it, but the internals and the drivers that we ended up putting in the headphones were like far superior. So,
you developed your own headphones almost.
Yeah, I wanted a certain driver in the headphone. I wanted them really bassy. The ones I heard at this festival were like tinny. There was no bass. Like,
yeah,
you could almost They weren't noise cancelling. You could hear what was going on a bit. So we really wanted to make a premium headphone. And when I ordered it, I literally had sold it into these weddings, bar bat mitzvahs, before I'd even got the headphones. I was like, while the parents are eating, we can do a silent disco for the kids on the dance floor because they're bored. They're little shits. They're like playing Knockdown Ginger in a hotel. Like they're bored. They've eaten in 10 minutes. I was like, we'll do a silent disco. I can play all the crappy TikTok music that they want to hear that the adults just don't want to hear. And that's really where it started. Now that market is like 1% of what we do, you know, because we do such a variety of events now. But that's really where it was born. Exactly. And we are, all of our brands, we like try and be what they, you know, they are what they say on the tin.
Yeah, clearly.
So the screen hire company, that used to be the cinema hire company, but now going full circle back to where we were before, we do like trailers that you see at sporting events, Wimbledon, F1 with the big screens on the trailers. So we do that now, which do need staff. You can't ship them. You'd be, you know, they're 3.5 ton trailers, and we do a lot of that. The karaoke hire company. So there's been these subsequent brands, and the karaoke hire company is probably the newest in the last couple of years, where we went to China, developed something really easy that it's just one thing. You take it out of the box, connect it to Wi-Fi. You got unlimited songs, 2 mics, screen is on the speaker. It's all in one, and it's just awesome. And I've got friends that are like, oh, can we have a silent disco? We're doing a hen party. I'm like, take the karaoke as well. Tell me what you prefer. And like, obviously everyone loves karaoke. And I think with like all the karaoke bars that have popped up over London over the last 5-6 years, you know, the little pods.
You know, like Lucky Voice, I know, yeah.
And you got Bloomsbury Lanes or Tavistock Square, that's really popular. So I think that has elevated karaoke as well, because there's all these, but now you can do it at home. If you're having a hen party, you don't have to go into town and have an hour in a karaoke pod. You can have it at home. And like, I've literally, friends have been like, we just did it for like 5 hours straight.
Yeah, it's the best.
And that latest brand has been great. And we'll go to China and find, we just want to find the next big thing that we can market. We're very good. We've got a great team.
With this dry hire concept.
With that sort of like, concept.
And what's the long-term plan? You just rocking down this road, or you want to sell?
We just keep growing. We keep.
How many people are you now?
So we are a team of 17, 18.
Yeah, you don't need many people for a business like that. It's quite a profitable business, I imagine.
But we've got sort of 7 in the warehouse, and they are like charging, boxing, unboxing all day, every day. You know, they are the real cogs that get them out the door. And then we have our sales, our marketing, my PA assistant, who's like, you know, I should have hired her years ago. Someone told me, like, the first thing you should get is a bookkeeper and a PA. I got the bookkeeper in-house. I didn't do the PA until about 3 years ago. Best hire.
It's tricky, though, learning to work with a PA.
Yeah, and I was always nervous of, like, have I got enough for them to do? Like, you know, if they're full-time, like, have I got enough to pass to their desk? But, like, I'm unorganized, yeah. And, like, she's following up. Like, I had to leave for London today. I'm like, remind me at 11:15 I need to leave. I know in my head I need to leave by 11:30. But, like, she's reminding me every 10 minutes. Because if it's 11:30, she reminds me, I'm not getting out until 12. Because, you know,
we always cut those lines. Keep
you know, so she is a follow-upper, I call them. You know, she's following up with me. Have I done this? The team. She is brilliant. And I'm very lucky to have found a great PA.
A personal assistant, but it does take time to learn how to work together and find out what to do together.
Yeah, because you build that relationship. But it's to keep growing. We've got a lot of headphones. We opened in Dubai.
Oh, you've opened in Dubai? Nice. What's the sort of turning point here? So you're a kids entertainer. You go and see this thing in America. Is it just sort of accidentally?
I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like, that DNA was there, whether it was the 14-year-old trying to like upsell someone in dad's shop, like love selling. But I always wanted to make money. I don't think money makes you happy, but I think it gives you opportunities, you know, because happiness now as a father, and you'll agree, like, is measured in different ways. But it gives you opportunities to make memories or whatever it may be. as a DJ, and I've told this story on loads of pods, is that like there was that light bulb moment that I remember. I played five-a-side football on a Thursday, and I broke my wrist in short. And I remember going to the hospital. They were like, "You've broken your wrist. You need to go in a cast." And I went, "Look, I'm DJing some big jobs this weekend." I was like, "You can put me in a cast, but on Monday. So put me in whatever you want now. It's Thursday. On Monday, I'll come back. You can put me in a cast," because I can't DJ and scratch in a cast. And that's exactly what I did. But it was like, that was the real turning point of like, if I'm not working, I'm not earning money. And it's really like key man driven. And I wanted to find something that I could scale. You know, I'm sure loads of you'll guess, you know, a commercially profitable enterprise that works without me in it. I love working in it. And I think there's different entrepreneurs, you know, do you want to have a beast where you just have teams do everything and, you know, you're out doing other stuff? Do you want a lifestyle business where it gives you a really good lifestyle, but you're sort of working still in the business? And I'm like, again, with fatherhood, I'm really comfortable having a lifestyle business, still like doing a million other things.
Do you find it's the going to China and seeing, because they've got so much crazy tech there, and maybe it was America years ago, that's what drives your like, oh, this is the next thing, we're going to do this now? Or do you go to other events, or, you know?
I try and go now to as many trade shows as possible.
Oh, really?
We dabbled in VR, like simulators, where you like go in and you're on a roller coaster moving around. They were pretty cool, but like labor intensive. You need 2 staff, you need big vehicles.
People get sick too and stuff, you know.
And I was like, but that all came from America. I used to go to Florida every year for a show, and generally like America are always in front of the UK on like entertainment and tech and most things. Yeah. So I used to do there, and now all of that stuff, most of it comes from Far East anyway. So now I tend to go to the Far East. And again, those relationships with suppliers that we've had for 10 years and okay, all these companies, they've seen what we've done, competitors, they're now copying us. Let's innovate. And I'm constantly
and that's about expanding the product portfolio and just having
and
the
improving
best.
the product, having the best. Let's do something different. On the headphone, let's have a little screen that shows what channel they're on, rather than just the color. Like if you've been to one, it's like blue, red, green. Let's have a little screen so then like people can see, instead of like you're
Does that
just
mean
on.
Then the people who are listening to the same thing go together and dance together? Is that what happens, sort of thing? Yeah.
So like always innovating, and like our friend James talks about this. Like if you don't innovate, you evaporate.
Yeah.
He told me that at such a young age, and that has stuck with me ever since. With all of our other products, like if you're not innovating, somebody else is.
Yeah.
So it's trying to stay ahead, try and be the best at what you do. But I think the key to our success, as I alluded to earlier, is customer service. I really do think that is, you know, one of the
Do you
main...
think it's dying now? People don't use a telephone? And
Yeah.
do you have
my
to train
team,
your team? Or
we train our team. We have a great team, but we've had teams in the past where like they follow the processes, and business is about system and processes. Leadership is great, but if you have great processes in place, like you can be a really successful business. And like they'd follow the processes of like, we know the data shows that if you're on the phone, you will convert better. You know, the data is there, the facts are there. It takes an average of like 8 times to speak to someone before you close the deal. And then in the end, like after 6 months, they're like, oh no, I convert better on email. So I just send them an email. Like the data from all the time we've been doing this, we know that's not true.
But you're having to cold call, are you almost?
No. So we don't do any cold calling.
This is people ringing you.
They're all
pick
incoming.
Up the phone.
Yeah. And then following up, because they've probably inquired with
now, ring them back. Ring
5
them back.
other companies, ring them, follow up with them in a
weird
week.
way, it's so much easier to ring people, but it feels harder because you have to make this sort of intense interaction, isn't it? You know?
They're like, you know, if they've sent a question that if you answer would close the deal there and then, they'd email. I'm like, just call them, answer that question within 30 seconds, and you're straight onto booking them in.
When we talk as humans, we're always trying to close. We're always trying to sort of fight. When your emails sort of go wider and wider, there's something about humans when you talk, you're kind of like, it's an intense experience at both ends. So you're kind of like, what are we doing? Should we, like, am I doing this now? You know, it's a sort of, I mean, it's a bit like trying to do debt collection. I mean, the old thing is you ring them up and then you say, oh no, I really want to pay. Well, have you got a credit card there? Well, yeah, I've got a credit card. Well, should we do it now? And they're all like, oh, well, yeah, okay. You know, it's like, you know.
I don't want to be like pushy, but I just think you build a relationship. That salesperson hopefully follows them all the way through. So even after their event, we do a thank you call. You know, how was it? If you've got any pictures, like please leave us a review, because we don't meet you. We don't physically come to your event, but we've dealt with you on this journey up until your event.
So it's quite about opening the box and you put a little note almost, is it?
Every order, whoever has packed it in the warehouse, there's a have a fab time from Tim.
Yeah,
you know, with a little smiley face. And the notes that come back, thanks Tim, had the best time. That's the warehouse team that don't even get to speak to the customer.
Yeah.
So it's that overall experience that I think sets us above anyone else. And we hear it all the time. Like, I've been trying to call, I made a booking with this company, tried to call them 6 times. No, they're not answering. And I'm like, we will always have someone on the phone. And we operate a 24/7 tech line. I've seen calls because I've got it on my phone, so I know when the team are. We've had calls at like 2 a.m. on New Year's Eve, and the team will answer it.
Wow.
You know,
drunk.
What's going on? You would, yeah. I mean, like, especially hens. I mean, they are wild when they're drunk, and they're, you know, yeah, they sound, oh, you sound nice. I'm like, just, you know, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. What's wrong? Like,
what's the new trend coming along? Is there a new trend I need to jump on the bandwagon of?
New trends.
Parties or anything?
I do think a lot. I think this is really since COVID, like a lot of people are having parties at home more than going out, like getting a table at a bar
they're dying
or a club.
The discos, aren't they?
I mean, nightclubs are dead. We did like a YouTube episode on it where we went to a few nightclubs and it's like, you know.
But I loved a young person talking about it. Well, the music's really loud. The drinks are really expensive. I can't hear anyone. You know, it's crap, you know, and you think, oh yeah, it only works when you're shit-faced. You know what I mean? When you're just so oblivious to everything. You're either high on drugs or you're high on alcohol. And then it all kind of makes sense being in a basement till 5 a.m, doesn't it? You know,
but people do that at home now.
Yeah.
You know, people will do that at home. And I think people enjoy having parties at home now. And we've seen a real shift with people having it in venues or halls to now having parties at home.
So your equipment's got smaller almost, the little setups rather than the 42-inch outdoor whatever.
They're a different, but honestly, headphones range from 10 headphones for a hen up to, I think the biggest we did was for Girl Guiding UK in one hit as a private event, not a festival. And they had 5,500.
What? Headphones?
Yeah, in the NEC.
You can stream to that many, can you? God,
yeah, so we stock about 30,000.
And you can have as many as you want on one receiver, even outdoors.
It's 5,500 in the NEC, all screaming kids to like firework Katy Perry. And it was deafening. Like, it was an amazing spectacle. And then we have some stuff in Dubai, but not as many as here.
And Middle East is going bananas for everyone. I mean, it's just, there's such a movement over there, and it's the sort of party scene. Just Dubai you're focusing on.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing some in, you know, Abu Dhabi is an hour drive away.
Yeah.
An hour and 15. So it's that is really up and coming because Dubai is so expensive now. You know, I've been out there a few times. Dubai is like, Abu Dhabi is 25% of the price, like to stay in a hotel, like luxury hotel. But it was really like, it wasn't on the latest hike of taxes, which really annoy me. Maybe we'll come on to it. But one or the other, and I was just like, I've had enough. I'm going to open up in Dubai. I know so many people moving there. Like my brother-in-law moved there 2 months ago. He's in entertainment as well.
Is he loving it?
Loves it. The lifestyle, the weather. It's not for me. I wouldn't move there.
Summer hasn't come yet.
I wouldn't move there because I do love the UK. I love the
grits,
the cold mornings, walking the dog. I like it, but I'm just fed up with the tax.
Yeah,
I really am. Like,
talk to me about that.
Well, it's the turnover taxes.
Which is sort of the expression of being taxed on your turnover rather than on your profits.
And I think, I'm just so passionate. Like, tax businesses on profit and not turnover.
And have the higher corporate tax rate. Say corporate tax is 40%. But
tax me more on profit, because I think, like, I worked it out. 50 to 55% of our turnover goes on tax.
So there's big one, employers' national insurance on salaries.
And it really affects lots of low-paid workers, which is what we are. I think that's where it can really,
that's
really affect.
The stupidity when they put up the national insurance rate. We all sat here as tax people going, you're not taxing business. Stop just slamming it on businesses like there's some
business
sort of
rates pit. And the VAT is a killer for us.
Because you're B2C.
We do both. We do a lot of B2B. Yeah. We do a lot of conferences. But the problem with us is we're a hire company. We get a little bit of VAT back on the import, okay? But we don't pay VAT on the headphones because we're buying them for the Far East. So once we bought the kit, that kit will work for us for 5-10 years. So, like retail, they sort of offset each other, B2B. We don't reclaim that much VAT because apart from like couriers and, we don't reclaim that much VAT because we're a hire company rather than selling. So our VAT returns are like, I
don't think anyone's ready yet though for, internationally it's proven, like if you lower taxes, you get more take. I mean, it's proven in this country. I mean, whenever you do it, basically everyone just goes, great, I'll do more of this, I'll go for it. And entrepreneurs would move back from Dubai. If you created an environment that they were like, oh, wow, it's great there. But you're not going to get rid of that. I mean, it's the third largest tax intake. It's a subtle tax too. People sort of forget about that. I mean, it's sort of
like America, and we alluded to it, they have just like got it great. This is the price. Plus sales tax.
Yeah.
So people like there's a clear distinction, but here it's hidden.
Yeah.
Like 100 quid, and like a slice of that is just gone. But if we did that here, can you imagine people would go bloody mental if you changed it? But I think setting it out like that is actually the best way of doing it, because that's the price of the item, tax is on top, and obviously it's different in different places. But I think it's just really tough. We would employ more people like this year
if they lowered these sort of turnover taxes. I don't know how it's too entrenched, these taxes, people would get too, it's like you'd have to whack up corporation tax. I don't know what the mathematics is, but you're talking about, suddenly corporation tax rates 35% or something, which sounds sort of fine in theory, but it's quite a headline thing that puts off international companies and stuff. And they'd be like, oh, I'm not sure about that. I mean, I totally agree with you in a theory. It's like, why tax people when they're trying to get something going? You should get rid of it.
But like we talk about the VAT threshold, like, I know a lot of people that won't go over it because if they hit the VAT threshold, they are so much worse off than if they sit at 80, 85 grand. It doesn't make sense. I was like reading the other day that I think it's now that there's 5 million businesses in the UK and 4 million of them don't have staff.
Wow. Yeah, that must be right, because the maths, the maths suggests that.
That's 75% of businesses in the UK, like we're talking SMEs and stuff, don't have any staff. So only 25% actually employ people. And then I think I was reading on, I think these were updated figures, that out of the SMEs, which employ 0 to 250 people, like we employ 17 million people, which is like 60% of the private sector workforce. It's like, imagine if there was a bit of help there. Like we're employing like 17 million people.
It's a dirty word, though, I would argue, entrepreneur. I mean, we touched on Gary Stevenson out there doing his thing at the moment. And I think that some of that argument's got a bit misconstrued because people are sort of saying, oh, well, not everyone can be an entrepreneur. No, absolutely not. There's like 1 in 10, 1 in 20 crazy bastard who wants to be an entrepreneur. But if you put them off, they will go and find somewhere. And it happens to be Dubai mostly at the moment that people are going to go do that, and there's zero tax, basically.
Yeah, it's 5% VAT.
5% VAT, 8% on corporation tax above 300 grand. But other than that,
but
zero.
Like, I did that one in a bit of like haste and anger. I'm like, enough's enough with this. Let's open up out there. And it's a very different market to here. Like, you know, we're booming here. We're, you know,
well-known brand.
A well-known brand, a big business here. There it's very seasonal because the summer's just so hot. So like the season for us is September till end of April. However, like here again, it's a bit of we don't like to get into price war. Like we don't discount really. We'd rather give something free because people would expect a discount forever, but they don't expect free forever. So we might give something free. If you give them a discount, if they hire again, they're going to expect that discount every time. So that's sort of our mentality to it. But for example, we might be £2.50 a headphone here. In Dubai, it will be £10-15 per headphone when you actually break down the per headphone cost of a package. So the value's a lot more. I don't mind doing less. The staff there, like we've got 2 Pakistani guys that work for us. They are grafters. Even if there's no work, they're in the unit, they're cleaning, they're like maintaining. Like they are grafters. And they're the nice, like when I've been out there, I'll take them for dinner and, you know, like really look after them. But, you know, it's not going to give the income that I've got here, but it gives me a nice little pot that I can take the family on holiday once a year or.
But let me go in a different line of direction, which is maybe some of the attitude towards turnover taxes is that, well, if you do that, those rich bastards, those entrepreneurs are just going to keep more money for them. So they just want to make more money. My general experience, and you alluded to it earlier, is people aren't necessarily motivated by, I just want to make loads and loads of money. You know, like you're motivated by a host of things, I guess. And would you, okay, say we get rid of turnover taxes. You've now got some more money in your business, you know.
I would invest it into more businesses or more people. And I say that in business, like I'm investing in people as much as the products. I want to give my team opportunities. I would like to acquire more businesses to give my team more opportunities. You know, going back to Dubai, you know, we pay all of our taxes and I might go on a few trips with the family out there. But here, I just think if there was more money, we would do more R&D or we'd, as I said, invest in more people or...
Yeah, it's like it's not a zero-sum game. As a client said to me when they were talking about was capital gains tax going to go really high, and he was selling his business at the time, one of his businesses, and it was like, well, the stupid thing is if I sell it and I get 10 million and they take half of it, well, fine, they'll get half of it now, but now I've got less money to start my next business, so maybe I won't do what I was going to do. But if you leave me with more, I'll just keep putting it back on black. I think it's the sort of, everything's always so counterintuitive in life. It's like Brexit, you voted anti-immigration, you got more immigration than you've ever had. It's whatever you think you're getting. So the counterintuitive thing is that actually entrepreneurs, wealth creators, they are obsessed with making, I just want all this money to myself and, you know, I'm just going to pool up this money and stick it in a bank account. Again, this sort of Gary narrative that I'm just hoarding. I'm just hoarding it. And I'm going to make, no, sure, there might be some people like that, you know, maybe. But most entrepreneurs, they care deeply about their team. I mean, they care so much about the people who work for them, and they're so determined to give them a better life.
COVID, and I hate using the C. I try and get away.
Why do you hate using that word?
The C word?
Yeah, why is it bothering you?
Because my mentality is look forward, don't look back. Right. You know, don't dwell on the past. But I have to a little bit because that mentally, in terms of mental health, was tough. Okay. You know, for years, calls coming in, bookings, buzzing in the office, like, you know, we're doing better than ever. And then literally every call that came in was cancelling or postponing. And I'm watching the energy drain from my team's faces. And I'm thinking, my team have got mortgages to pay. They've got children. What the bloody hell am I supposed to do? So that I'm going home and I'm like, I care about this team. They, you know, I spend more time with them than I do with my loved ones, or my wife at the time at home. And I'm like, how do I tell them? what do I do? Is it a temporary layoff? Like,
did you have a reserve? I mean, this is a real, really important lesson in business is you never know what's around the corner and you need a reserve. But, that reserve would have never lasted how long COVID ended up lasting. But
so now, like I spoke about the property, because that really builds moats around your business. So now I know if anything happened again, we have property that we can rely on or borrow off of. And I think that's super important. We always keep reserves for January, February, because they are really quiet months. We almost make a loss in those months. We do most years. This year we actually didn't for one of the first times, but we keep a reserve, and 20th of March or something. So we always have a reserve, but entrepreneurs pivot. More millionaires are made in economic downturns than upturns. Yeah. Fact. So being what I am, all I needed was cash flow. Cash flow keeps business going, most important thing. So what did we do? We had a Christmas shop. All the crap that you put on a Christmas tree around your house. I had wholesalers that I'd bought party goods from back in the day. I bought crap loads of Christmas stuff. Shopify website. Did really well for Christmas stuff. That was towards the end of the second lockdown. In the first lockdown, what I actually did is we did a lot of events where we did custom DJ booths with perspex, plastic sheets. And obviously in every shop, people wanted these perspex screens, sneeze guards, whatever. Yeah. You still see them in shops. And Dad's shop and that's where our offices were based as well, at the back of Dad's shop. I rented some space in the back of the warehouse, and that's where we started years ago. And he was classed as essentials because we did ambulance uniform, military stuff, work boots. So we were classed as essentials, so we were open. And we had these like sneeze screens. So we'd done it for DJ booths. So I bought, I think, 2 pallets of 8x4 plastic clear acrylic sheets, bought as much as they had. And I had someone who used to like CNC laser cut them. We made loads and loads of sneeze screens, Shopify websites. So this was the first one.
Yeah.
And we sold everything.
Really?
And we sold all these sneeze screens, bubble wrap. People were putting them out, news agents, petrol stations. Honestly, in like 2 months, we did like 60, 80 grand in sneeze screens.
So something about that phrase, sneeze screen. It was such a funny time. My wife tells a story. She was working in A&E at the time as a doctor. Do you remember, first of all, it was about, did you go to Italy? That's where it came from initially. And I remember she was telling me she came back from work and she was in A&E, and then this person come in and they had to ask them, have you been to Italy? And they said, oh, yes, and I'm not feeling so well. And they were like, oh, dear. So they didn't know what to do with this person. They sort of stuck them in this room. They kept sort of reappearing from this. They had to just stay in the room. There's all these people in A&E, and then suddenly in the middle of all these people, this woman stand up and said, I've been to Italy. These fuckers, everyone just like dashing to them. This guy with a broken leg drags himself out of any empties. They've got another person who's been to Italy. They stick her in a room. These 2 people all day just kept every half hour opening the door. Hello.
So I've been to Italy because she's been to Italy. I'm next to her.
So, you talk about the sneeze screen. It's such a sort of obsessive, but look at you pivoted.
So pivoting there.
But you kept people working then. You see, my life was a bit different when COVID happened, because basically I've never worked so hard in my life, and I work hard. It just got insane. Like I just had to work like insane hours because all this law was coming out. We just had to turn around the information because I was like, we can't ring everyone. So we were like, right, just do webinars. Like, let's start getting everyone online. Let's tell them everything we know. I
was DJ. Like we did a couple of like DJing on Zooms. We had like 200-300 people.
Did you?
And we're in our warehouse. No one was there. But we pivoted there, and then really the drive-in cinemas, the home cinema, because you could have 6 people, right? So like people might have their cousins, or you had bubbles, but no one was really doing, were people really doing? So we did a lot of home cinemas, but what's 120 quid going to do? Because it's 6 people. Like but the drive-in cinemas, when the economy sort of opened up, that was like the thing to do. You could go out, but it had to be a drive-in cinema. Like you have to sit in your car, don't open your window, don't breathe at anyone. but you can watch this drive-in cinema.
I hope they put on, what's that film, Contagion or whatever? Should have been the drive-in cinema. There was one about, it was basically COVID when you watch it. It's like, it's even the right kind of virus or something in it. It's literally that film from the, I knew it, seen it somewhere. What would you say then to young entrepreneurs then? What's your sort of message to them in terms of, what are the real support these people need?
For me, I think the real thing with young entrepreneurs that I used and that a lot of people do is that there's so much media out there now. You've got books, YouTube and podcasts and stuff. But I say to young entrepreneurs, like, talk to other people that have done it with respect. Don't talk to your accountant. Like, they may not be an entrepreneur. They're an accountant. They're a numbers person.
Correct.
Speak to other entrepreneurs that have been there, done it, got the metaphorical t-shirt, because they will help you not make the mistakes that they made.
How'd you find them though? How'd you pick them?
I mean, again, the media now, you've got YouTube, you've got
just reach out to the ones.
Reach out, and you'd be surprised how many entrepreneurs want to help other entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And share your pain, because we're a weird group of we're a bit strange. It's a 24-hour gig. It's not 9 till 5 Monday to Friday. It's a 24-hour gig at the weekend, a bank holidays.
It's sort of boredom driven or something, isn't it? It's a sort of I want to do something.
Like at night, I could, watch some. But I'm on my laptop. What new products can we find? Like, I'm messaging the team at midnight, and they know. Like, I say, do not reply. But it's stuff that's on my mind that I'm thinking about at 11:30 at night. Let's do this next week. This I think we can change our process slightly, and I think it could have this effect. Let's explore this next week. And they see, even over the Easter weekend,
yes, Toby.
Always there's all these different tabs in my head. I said this earlier, and I'm flicking from one tab to the other. But also speak to other people that are in your space, but maybe, for us, we cover the whole of the UK, so I think it's more difficult. But if you were an optician's, go speak to an optician up in Manchester, find out their pain points or how they did it as an example, because other business owners and entrepreneurs will share. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it's an ego thing. I think it's more people like to help each other. I mean, I'm always refer it back to why people look after their staff. We're humans. You want to help your tribe, don't you? You want to look after your tribe and be, and you're right. If someone comes along and they're trying to do it, I don't know, there's something nice in that, isn't there? It's inspiring for you as an old person because, maybe that's ego. It's a sort of respect thing.
And I think young entrepreneurs, I had a really tough time at school. I was bullied really badly. And I think there's an element of proving the bullies wrong that has been ingrained in me somewhat. And
that's interesting. I had a terrible time at school. Why were you bullied so badly? What?
There were certain things but maybe because, I was out working at 14, maybe they saw that as a bit of a...
Was this physical bullying, mental bullying?
Both.
Where did you go? A normal...
I went to a private school.
Did you?
And this happened in a private school.
Yeah, the bullying's almost worse.
Where, there was a cupboard. They put me in the cupboard, opened the door, throw apples in, shut the door. And then the real turning point was I got bundled, broke my wrist, and then I left that school. So there was an element of I'm going to prove those people wrong one day. I'm working. Yeah, I might be 14, dressed up as a clown, if you will. But I'm out earning money. I'm grafting. And I will make something quite special one day. And that was always there was a point to prove.
Well, it's like the kids who do well at school, don't they? They never really, you meet them 20 years, they've never really gone anywhere. Do you know what I mean? They were top of the school or best sportsman. And it's
especially at those sort of schools.
Yeah.
But now it's I've proved them wrong, in my opinion. I'm content with that. But now it's trying to prove myself wrong. What's the next chat? Entrepreneurs make the impossible possible. And I say that to my team, they're there. I don't tell, they are there to do the day to day, the week to week, the month by month, where I am trying to make the impossible possible. As someone says, if I don't think that can be done or that's going to cost a lot of money to do, well, I'm going to prove you wrong. I think we can do that at half the cost and we can make that happen very quick. So I like those impossible tasks because I proved myself wrong. So there is always an element, I think, for me of like proving myself wrong or proving doubters wrong.
It's the pushback. I mean, maybe even if you sort some sort of mentorship from an entrepreneur, you know, it could be the best thing that they say to you about this won't work. I mean, actually, maybe the clever piece of advice is that when they come along to you and say, oh, you'll never do this. You'll never work it out.
And it's interesting because I think a myth of young entrepreneurs, and I definitely had this, is like young sort of equals inexperience equals incapable. And people see like age as a disadvantage almost. And I actually, because I was 17, 18, like I'm pitching for like Google's one of our clients still. We do a lot of Christmas parties for them. And I remember I'm like 17 and in the back of my head, I'm like, are they going to think I'm too young? Like, is age a barrier? And I think I feel like I'm like a 50-year-old at the time I'm a 40-year-old in an 18-year-old's body. And I came across maybe as much older because I think people can see age as like, has they got the experience? But actually, I see it as an advantage that you might have fresher ideas, tech-savvy ideas rather than old generation, and a resistance to failure. Like, if you fail, you just get up and go again sort of mentality. So I think that's really important for young entrepreneurs. It's like, don't see age as the issue, because I was really like, I'm turning up with a man in a van
fresh
from
eyes
school.
Are quite powerful.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
Set in our way. You know? We kind of see it as it is, isn't it? And I don't know whether that's part of getting old that I feel, that age, it feels like age is less relevant now. I mean, I partly take that from the music industry, that because it became hard to create acts like the Stones or Coldplay or whatever. Coldplay were one of the last ones actually out of the old way it used to work. It's been harder to create, that it's sort of these older brands have continued. I mean, I'm pretty sure back in the 80s, you wouldn't have acts who are 70 years old. I mean, I don't think so. I don't think you did, or, older people.
Well, now it's different medium, isn't it? It's, they'll get famous from a video on TikTok going viral. They haven't grafted like the old school, becoming a superstar.
I watch them do their videos. They take forever. Christ, I tried to do a rap video the other night. It took me an hour to record the video. It took me an hour and a half to upload this bugger and get the thing. At the end of it was 11 o'clock and I was like, I'm not doing this shit, babe. I can't. It takes, I don't know how people have the time. It takes forever. You end up posting, oh, bloody hell, I've done the caption wrong. Oh, I've got to change it. I've got to re-upload it.
That's another thing with entrepreneurs is like, the owner should eat last, because you're going to build something much more valuable with team. And like at the start, an entrepreneur is everything. They're a PA, they're a bookkeeper, you're trying to do your accounts or whatever. They're a social media marketing person. As you broaden out, I try and get people that are way better than me. And some business owners who maybe are not entrepreneurial, like they want to be the cleverest person in the room. So when I socialize with other entrepreneurs, I want to be the least successful person in the room, because what will I learn from everybody else? I don't want to be the cleverest person. What's that phrase?
If you're the cleverest person in the room, get out.
It was from a book. You become the average of the 5 people you spend time with.
Right.
I think it was Jim Rowe. And I think that goes for the same like with team. Like, I don't want to have all if I'm going to bring a social media person in, I want them to be like just the best that they can be. And I want them to talk about stuff I've got no idea about. So I learn. So for your music videos, just hire a freelancer that knows their stuff. They'll do it in half the time.
Yeah. They'd have to come to my house at 9 o'clock at night on a Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be able to do that. I can recommend a few. So
yeah. So come on, if you're going to do like your ultimate party, what would be Toby's ultimate party? Who would be the acts? Where would it be at?
No budget.
No budget.
There was an inquiry a few years ago that I worked really hard on, which was a silent disco on a plane.
Oh, wow.
And I went to Heathrow.
Private jet or whatever.
No, a commercial plane. They wanted to host the first silent disco on a plane, and I'm all about that. Yeah. And unfortunately, the radio frequencies from the headphones could have interrupted with the plane, and that's the last thing you want. So if there was no limit, I want to have the first silent disco on a commercial plane. And my acts would be Eminem, Stevie Wonder,
Oh.
and Mumford and Sons.
Oh, really? Mumford and Sons. I know very little about them other than their name.
Oh, like folk band, but they're just posh boys from
British.
London.
Yeah, they're British.
Yeah, from London.
Eminem would be like, who's these fucking Mumford and Sons? Stevie Wonder.
Just think about that mix, no budget. Eminem, Stevie, and Mumford.
Yeah. No, I'd love to see him. You know, I'm a big Eminem fan, so it would be amazing. I mean, if he wasn't dead, I might put Big Pun down as my number one collab. But yeah, it would be. You know, he's just lyrically out there. Anyway, that was brilliant. Thanks, Toby. You've been brilliant. Oh well, let's just ask: if people want to find you, they find you where?
So we've got a YouTube channel. Yeah. Follow our behind the scenes of our business and my entrepreneurial journey.
What's it called? Silent Disco, is it?
No, it's called Toby Burns, the Eventrepreneur. Eventrepreneur, little play on words. If not, any of our businesses at the Silent Disco Company on all channels, you can find out what we do.
Brilliant. Thank you, Toby, for coming down. That's been this week's episode of Business Without Bullshit. We'll be back on Wednesday. Until then, it's ciao.